All right, welcome to Bonding, where the podcast we believe in dinosaurs, the Lord, and love.
Amen.
Speaking of love, that's Torey Cole, ladies and gentlemen. Torey, sing us a song. 1, 2, 3, 4.
My baby don't mess around because
She loves me so, and this I know for sure.
Wow.
But does she really love me? But she wanna leave me, but you never know. Thank you.
I'm kidding.
That's one of the saddest songs
Thank
ever.
God. Yeah, from mom and dad.
Dad, we're sticking two together because we don't know how.
Oh.
Hey,
Why? What's it about? Why is it so sad?
it's about a guy who. What's the first line? My baby
don't mess
around me, but she
loves
me so, and this I know for sure. But does she really love me, or does she wanna leave? Guess I'll never know. It's about a guy like in the second verse, or after the chorus, Andre literally goes, "Y'all don't want to hear me, you just want to dance." The song is literally about a relationship that's dying with one of the greatest beats ever, and that was sort of the brilliance of Andre 3000. I think they came out on the last Outcast album was a Big Boy did all of his songs, like Ready for Action, Nipping in the Bud, We Never Relax in, Outcast is Never. What's that one? I Like the Way You Move.
That's a great song.
I like the way you move across the border. Yeah, Big Boy did those ones, and then Andre had all of his, and that was one of the songs that were on Andre's. I remember when Hey Ya came out; it was around the same time my dad gave me a Walkman, and I listened to it so many times that he took it away from me. It's like I can hear it from upstairs.
On the Walkman?
Yeah, because I'd be blasting it on headphones. My dad is just one of those dads that would be mad at shit for no reason. Why the fuck is the microwave on the counter? Where would you like it, Papa?
My dad would get mad when you parked on the grass. Who parked on the grass?
Well, that's not where you park. That
was pretty random.
Your house.
Yeah, but you know when you pull up and then there's like the road and then there's the yard?
Why would you park on the grass, though?
Because your tires
parking in the grass on your
just go over just enough where it's on the grass. You think you're on the road, but you're a little on the grass. That would drive him mad. And then if the door was open,
why would you do that?
Because you just pull up a little too far over. Like here's the house, and then you go to park in front of it, and you park just like 2 inches too far over.
To the door.
And you're on the grass.
And you can't have your feet touching pavement. Want me to start throwing rose petals out too? I don't have a car, so a lot of this stuff is novel to me. I have no idea. I don't think I'll ever get my license.
Ever? You talk about it.
No, I'll die. I
don't think you'd be a good driver, no offense.
Why? Because I'd be drunk all the time?
No. Not about that. It's just, it's actually kind of scary, and I think when you don't do it during an age where you're impressionable and it's
That's
normal,
why I don't want to do it.
I think I'd be terrified. I was scared when I learned, but then I just did it so much, and...
You're a great driver. Your life has been in my hands many a time, but even when I'm in the car with you and we're driving, like if we're going from from New York to like Connecticut, I have to look down because of all the stresses and anxieties of the road that there are. Mitch Hurwitz tried to get me to drive his car once because he was going to give me driving lessons, and he actually taught me a lot about...
What'd you learn?
Well, just like stuff about like, he's like, okay, now you see I took this turn here because that's an old lady, and you know they usually won't go right away. They're not going to take that risk, so I took that risk. Like just like little backdoor secrets and stuff that like I'll tell you about comedy or about editing. And then he was like, all right, you ready? And I was like, Mitch, I'm not driving your car through the hills in LA, which are narrow as is. I've driven one time. I drove my dad's Oldsmobile, or my grandmother's Oldsmobile. My dad broke his Achilles tendon. He was in the karate school. He threw a spinning back kick, and he missed my brother's head during a sparring exercise, and he hit a support pillar and shattered his entire Achilles. And so he was out of it for like 3 months, and we were at a Stop and Shop, which was 2 minutes from the karate school, and he had me drive there to there, and it was one of the scariest moments of my life. 16?
Oh, okay.
And then at 18, my mom took us to a parking lot to drive around because Logan was getting his license. About being too old, like, yeah, I see that. That's what I'm scared of. Like, I think I'm too old to do it now. And I get anxiety very easily, and I'd get in a lot of accidents. I'd be a brake presser. I'd probably speed without realizing it. and driving's in my blood. Like my grandfather was a bus driver his whole life, and he was a limo driver. My father is a great driver. I just don't see it for me. But none of them were comedians, so
Right. Well, you can pay someone to drive you.
I do often. It's I'd rather be a passenger princess anyway, because car, I'm like a dog, I want to go for a ride. I like taking the scenic route. I like seeing things. I like except Wyoming was the most boring fucking state to drive through. Anyway, my ass got tired. And I was in Rolla, Missouri a couple of weeks ago, and I had to take a 2-hour ride from St. Louis to Rolla to get to the gig. That was another boring drive. I just like
Who are you driving with?
Some cab service.
Oh.
Randomly both times. Yeah, it's a lot. Driving's not for me. It's not gonna be for me. But the thing is I've been on a lot of electric bikes that go just as fast as a motorcycle, and I'm totally comfortable on those. My father also rode a motorcycle.
Your scooter was a little scary.
Yeah, I fell on that bitch.
I know. I rode it. Remember that one time? That thing scared the shit out of me. I almost crashed.
Yeah.
I went half a block on it, and I was
coming
scared.
From such a great driver. What's new with you? You are doing something very noble. You're raising money for a very, very good cause.
That's very sweet.
Because you've been doing all this marathon training.
Yes.
How's that been going? Your endurance getting better?
Yeah. I mean, I ran 17 miles.
Did you do the marathon or whatever it is?
The marathon is on November 3rd.
November 3rd.
Yeah.
My mother's birthday.
Aw, I'll have to wish her happy birthday.
You'll be running a marathon.
It's November 3rd. My longest run I've done is 17 miles, and it wasn't too bad.
And marathon's what, 7 more than that? 6.5?
6 miles. It's 26 miles, so.
6.
Well,
6
I
more
ran
than
17.
Yeah.
26.
Yeah. So so that's however 2 plus more is.
9.
8. 9, you're right. We're both there.
Anyways,
I haven't seen you in 2 weeks. It's starting to rub off.
Totally, yeah.
Our auras are connecting.
Girl math.
We're like when they put on the brain ray in SpongeBob and everyone got stupid. And they're like, Patrick, I didn't even turn it on yet. That SpongeBob episode with Man Ray?
I can level you out a little. That's good.
Yeah, I was trying to impress you with a reference.
That was good. No, I liked that. That was good.
Because SpongeBob and Patrick were both stuck with the dumb ray.
Right. Okay, yeah, thank you for asking me.
Stop being nice to women.
Well, don't start now.
I said stop.
And I did that on purpose.
I asked you a question, I derailed it as I often do. How has the training process been? Is there anything about training for this that you've been able to apply to your life?
That's a really great question.
Thank you. I thought it out.
It was really nice.
See what happens when you think before you open your pothole?
And it's so funny you ask, because I would say yes. If I have to do a hard task, like for example, I was in a running class this morning, treadmill class, and I have to do like 4 miles, and like going into the class, I'm like, bitch, you ran 17. This is just do it. And I think I have this new benchmark for what I'm capable of physically and mentally. And it's like, if I have to do hard things, I have the new, you ran 17 miles, so roll up your sleeves and do this. Or today at work, I got kind of tired, and I was like, you have done nothing today. Like, relax and do your job, and you're fine.
And you got paid 30% less more than a man did.
Exactly. So all in a day's work.
That's a great benchmark.
Thank
the
you.
17 miles thing. I think about that often. My 17 miles would be that show in Indianapolis where I bombed so hard, and I still bombed at minute
mode.
2 and still had 58 to go. And every time I don't feel like doing a spot, or every time I'm tired and I'm like, oh, I just don't have it in me.
Yeah.
I think, well, I got through that.
Yeah.
I can do this. And also that's the benefit of growing up in a karate school and not having a choice between, I always wanted to know what it was like to go home and stay there, because I never got to do that. I got home from school and then I had to go right to the karate school. Mm-hmm. And I hated it then, but I'm grateful for it now, because it just, all the bullshit that gets in the people's way of that's not fair, or this isn't fun. You get all that out. And I think when you learn lessons like that as an adult, all lessons in life, we face them multiple times, especially your body too. Running is you're using your whole body and a good portion of your mind and your spirit. It's all three things that
it really
align.
is mental.
And I don't run because my mom bullied me. But you run like a motherfucker. You run consistently.
I like it. I stopped for 2 years because I focused on strength
training. You started pegging.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And
not too far off. Did you do CrossFit?
I did that once on a
You
Groupon,
strike me as a CrossFit person.
Like back in 2017. I enjoyed it, but the bar stuff kind of stressed me out.
What's the bar stuff?
Like anything with like 2 weights on the bar. Like it's a long metal rod with weights on each side, and no one ever knew what they were doing, and it just was very.
That's why they're in CrossFit.
You like put it on your neck, and you're doing squats.
Isn't the benefit to CrossFit is like what the selling point is like there's a lot of people around, so if you don't go, yeah,
exactly. No,
they build a Lego set at a children's hospital if I want that level of accountability.
No, really,
go fuck yourself.
It was funny when you would get there every morning. We would do roll call, and then anyone that wasn't there, we were like, boo. Like you,
that's
like,
fucked. I'd make a friend
crazy.
and I'd be like, write a list of everyone who booed me so I can wrong them.
No, it was ridiculous. But I liked being sore. I liked that feeling of accomplishment.
Hear that, fellas? Okay. I loved the same feeling after I'd work out as a kid or even like working out now. Like I hate being too sore you can't work out, but I do like the feeling of like, okay, I put my body through a limit. Yeah. It's physical exercise or just getting outside, I feel like is so important. It's like if you don't walk your dog, the world is as big as your dog allows it to be, you know? Like, so if your dog, if you don't take him for walks, it just thinks the world is your house in the backyard. Yeah. You know, so you got to walk your dog all over the place so it can understand. If God forbid it runs away, he's going to know his way home from smells and whatnot. But I liken that to human beings in the sense that, like, when I'm home from the road from a long time, I'll spend a lot of time just in my shoebox house because it's my rest and place to just sort of chill. Like I did today, but I went out to go get my laundry, and then I was like, oh, it's fall. It's nice outside. I forgot this happens. Yeah. It used to be cold in October all the time when I was a kid. And what pushed you to do this?
Run the marathon?
Yeah.
Well, my friend Chelly ran it last year.
And you always have to one-up her.
Exactly.
Women do not support
women. I couldn't
let
her have all the attention. No, I was really moved by her experience, the way she...
Wouldn't shut the fuck up about it.
She really loved training. I mean, she luckily had she works on the Warner Brothers lot in LA, and they had the strike going on, so she had this new outlet to keep herself feeling fulfilled and finding purpose in every day when you don't really have it, when you're jobless like that. And she really
way to call your friend broke.
She really came into like a great version of herself. And when she told me she was going to run it, I was like, no dice. So I was like, there's no way you're going to do this, you know. She was never much of a runner, and not only did she run it, but she cried tears of joy at the finish line. And it was right after we had been in Missouri. We landed, and I went straight to Central Park to see her across the finish line. And I couldn't believe, she started crying, and I was like, oh, fuck, she must have really messed her foot up or something. And I was like, are you okay? And she's like, I can't believe I did that. It was so amazing. And I was like, geez. I was like, I want what you're having. I was like, whatever drugs are flowing through your body, I'm like, I want this high. So
that's what was going on probably. Those endorphins were running like crazy, and then you get to the end, and it seems like an impossible task. We are nomadic people as sapiens, but we walked. We didn't run. It's like that line from Bee Movie where she was like, why don't bees fly everywhere? Why don't you run everywhere? Because it's exhausting. And when you live, I used to get so irritated when I'd see people in the city running. I'm like, there's not enough room for that. Put your shirt on, go home. Get a fucking elliptical and just shut the fuck up. But now I get it. Like, you know, it's the best way to just go do things. I used to go walk on the bridge all the time until I got really sad. Then I was like, that's probably a no-no area.
That's fair.
Yeah. But I'm half black, and that part of me can't jump.
That's good.
But I can't climb. Ooh!
That's not funny.
No, it was. That was funny. I'm just processing how quick that was.
Well, no, I don't want to. I've been called out.
I will cut it out.
Thank you.
Because you didn't know who Tito Jackson was. Richard Pryor has a great bit where he talks about when he got sober. And he was like, when I was an alcoholic, man, I knew everything. Now that I'm sober, I realize I don't know shit. You get me on the wrong day, I might not know my name. He's like, what's your name? Hold on, motherfucker. I had it a second ago. Give me a minute. Don't rush me. Like the willingness to not know anything. The more people I find who say they're stupid are the intelligent ones. It's the ones that are like, I alone can fix it. I'm the smartest guy in the room. Those are the ones that are like, oh, you compensate for something. It's like the Goodwill Hunting. You ever see Goodwill Hunting?
I know it. I know it's the writing on the wall, and it's the janitor.
And there's a scene where Matt Damon's character, because he's like a super genius, he walks up to a guy at a bar who's like hitting on some girl, and he's like, and he quotes the exact book the guy was talking about, and he's like, yeah, why don't you try reading something? Like, he just calls him out on his shit. Those people rarely exist where they're that smart. Well, he was also very socially inept, so that's the flop, right? Like,
as always, you gotta have your strengths and weaknesses.
Everyone's got a little touchy something about them. I always do you ever think about other people's dark sides? I always wonder, like, oh, what do you have buried in there?
Everyone has something.
Everyone's
what do you
got
think yours
something.
is?
I'm not gonna say it.
You say a lot on this podcast.
I know. I'm not saying that what the darkest part of my personality
you
and
say
soul
so
is.
much into a microphone on stage.
I do, and the stuff I want out, I clip and I put out there.
Keep your shadows in the shadows.
I do. I am the shadows. But what
do you think mine is?
You killed somebody one time.
No.
Driving home and you didn't pull over.
That was always a fear.
What, killing someone on the road?
Just
my grandfather
some sort of car
did.
accident situation.
Yeah. You're a good driver.
Thank you.
Even if you've had a few. Shout out that time we were in Long Island.
I would never.
No, hypothetically. Hypothetically, you did get us home after we emotionally fought in a parking lot. Hypothetically, after a show.
Yes.
And our emotions may have been hypothetically heightened because of the
Atmosphere.
atmosphere. And we did not get into a automobile accident.
Correct.
We got home. Torey's driven me many a distance. Here, Boston, Connecticut, Long Island, crazy. All places Torey's driven me.
We've driven all over. I'd say the most
Jersey.
north was probably
Boston.
Boston. And
Where
the
was
most
another one?
south.
It's Philly.
No, Maryland is more south than Philly. Probably Maryland. DC. DC is the most south.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah.
So-
and that was in January.
It's the whole East Coast.
How time flies. We're in Q4. What are you doing to lock in for your Q4? You already seem pretty locked in. You're
That's
training
a really
for
good
this
question.
marathon.
I feel like this year's been weird. Last year, I felt like you and I were just go, go, go together. And this year's been different from that. And I had to like actually think this year instead of just be like head on just spinning with like keeping everything afloat. And now I'm like, what am I doing? And I've definitely done better at my job, which has been good. But I also, that's not my dream. So it's like hard to like find fulfillment and joy there where I'm like, yeah, I'm doing a good job, but I do miss being with you. And I know there'll be more times in the future and we're doing this and I love this. And, I don't know, this year's just been a weird, after last year, it's like level setting. Again, we were traveling a lot in the early part of the year.
And also, neither one of us had ever traveled that much before in our lives.
Yeah, that was the most I've ever traveled.
That's something I'm getting. I mean, same experience. Like, I find myself comparing a lot of what I'm doing to what I was doing last year. But I also, it's one of those you don't know how long the race is till you're done running at things. And now that I'm on year 2 of it, I'm at like a point where I'm trying to enjoy it and also think more incisively and not let anyone finger their way through the art. You know, like I've gotten to this point where I feel like you should have confidence in me for the layup of whatever creatively I'm going to throw out there, because who the hell knew what? You're good?
Yeah.
Oh, you're recording, right? You read that?
Everything's good.
Okay. Sorry. It just, I get so scared when looking at the camera.
know.
I'm like, something fucked up.
No, everything's good.
That like, yeah, I'm going through now we're like at my life this year on paper isn't much different than last year, but I'm more, it's like how the drive back home isn't as slow as the drive there, because the anticipation getting there and then the drive home, you know, like,
Is that how that works?
I mean, I'm
Because
guessing.
I agree, there's always a longer and a shorter version of the journey, but I can't remember if it's getting there or leaving.
I think it's leaving, because getting there, what's on top of it is all this anticipation. Although getting back, if it went wrong, you could have all this anxiety.
Well, I'm also thinking of like a novel experience. Like when you're walking, sometimes it feels longer because it's new, and then when you leave, you're like, oh, I know this route. It goes quicker.
Yeah.
Like I
Right,
don't know.
being in
There's
new
different.
territory.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, that's what I guess we were trying to say. That's a good analogy for where our lives are.
Yeah.
And this year I told myself I was going to do two things, and that was be mindful of the moment and not look back. And the second thing was ask for help when I need it. And I did both of those things, and it made a world's difference. And what the outcome of that I got was how collaborative of a process life is. It's like a giant group project, and your project end result is going to be determined by who's in the group with you. And if
It's a really good point because it's not just you; it's the audience.
it's the audience, it's the people who I work with,
Yeah.
it's the people who work for me, it's the people
It's
who.
such a team effort, but
Yeah.
also you're at the helm in many ways.
And if I'm not, who is it that said this? He has it's so weird that I'm forgetting his name because it's Al Lubell. Al Lubell said he has a bit where he's like, "What happens if someone asked me one time, what do you do if you're not funny? If you don't feel funny?"
Feeling funny,
and I don't do well. Like that has been the most. That's been me this whole year, and I've realized moments where I'm not feeling funny or if I'm not up to it, and I back away from something. It's not quitting. Because I was raised with that mentality of you're either a warrior or a wimp, so get the fuck up even if it kills you. Well, it's almost killed me 3 times this year, and I've had the wherewithal that I wouldn't have last year to step back and be like, all right, whatever, because we're vehicles, and whatever gas you're putting in the vehicle is going to determine how far or how well your car is driving, and I guess I'm just more cognizant of the gas I'm putting in the vehicle and who I'm sharing the vehicle with. I don't always do it well, but that's when you learn the most, right? When you fuck up and you go, I'm not going to do that again.
Right. Well, there's something about negative experiences that stick. And they have more of a sting, so you learn from them. Whereas if something good happens, you're quick to move on.
I remember every bad set I've ever had. I don't remember a single good one. That's why when you asked me earlier, how was Vegas? I don't know, because the shows were all really good.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
and
good.
so I just don't. I'm watching tapes back now, and I'm like, oh, that was a good joke. That was good. Oh, it was good crowd work like that. Because like I was just in the moment but focusing on. I try not to think when I'm on stage. I'm just like be right here, because the second I'm like, oh, I gotta call my brother back. I'm like, what bit was I in the middle of? And usually I'm good at circling back, but. Something like in Louisville, I want to say. I was all over there was like probably 10 bits I didn't circle back to over the course of 5 shows because it was a different kind of crowd, and I had to talk slower, and I had to just sort of where you're performing matters very much culturally, right? Like, I don't believe every comedian, if you're a good comedian, can crush in front of any audience. Not true. That's not the mark of a great comedian.
Well, it's interesting because like you're gonna draw a certain crowd as yourself, but also then where you are geographically is gonna draw that crowd. So it's like a Venn diagram of who you are and who's in the area.
Yeah.
And then where you go each time, it's gonna be different always. But there is, when you are a headliner, obviously you're gonna get some random people that flow in, which will kind of change the experience, but
those are the ones I notice the most, and those are the ones that I want.
Who's this guy?
Well, you've been with me where so many people are like, I didn't even know who you were till today. Yeah. I'm a huge fan. You're so fun. Like, those are the people you're always thinking to seek out
as your opener.
Yeah, like you want to, and a lot of people don't know who you are, and you want that though, because that's how you grow the audience. Yeah. You want to keep. I think Larry David said, he was like, I hate talking to people I know. Strangers I could talk to all day. That's the growth that you want to bring in, and whatever you're doing in life. If you're an artist, you're going to have your core people who are always going to follow you and support you, but then you bring more of them into the family, and it'll hopefully lead, whatever you're putting out there, you're going to get back feedback wise, right? So like we have such great fans and listeners, and when they come to the shows, they're so visceral with our connection with them, and it's like we've already met, and it's so beautiful. As to the opposite, where like I've worked with some guys and gals who have a kind of the grittier edge to them, and their fan base it still will support them, but when they fuck up, they are not sympathetic.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot why I went off on this rant.
It was good.
But running has been good for you.
Yeah.
Fear. We talk about this on Secret Identity. Slater saw an acronym. Face everything and rise, or face everything and run. Which one are you going to do? You know, it was an episode we were talking about Mr. Miracle, and then I was like, well, Batman rises, and Brett goes, no, well, he runs. And it's been in my head since then. That's been my 17 miles. Am I going to rise or run to this?
And is there a positive to each?
Rising is you faced it, you rose up to the challenge, and the running is you ran away from it.
Is running bad?
Running away. You know, face it, you know, you have a problem. Are you going to rise up against it or run away from it?
That sure doesn't solve it.
It doesn't solve it unless you're doing a marathon, in which case that's the solution.
Well, that's like I got a card once, one of those quotable cards. It's a brand of cards, and it said,
"Go fuck yourself."
Exactly. It said all barriers melt away when you decide to boldly walk through them. So it's kind of the same concept.
To backpack off of that, is that what they say in the corporate world?
Piggyback.
To fat shame off of that, Kermit! George Lucas, and I think I've talked to you about this in the book that I'm reading, the book that made me want to start a certain point of view. It talks about Attack of the Clones and how that was the first movie ever put out on digital. There were no digital movies before then. He was sitting down with the heads of Sony with a translator telling them how to build these cameras because they couldn't build them fast enough. And he said to not use a process because it doesn't exist is something that is unfamiliar to me. And that's why he, like, what was the thing that you had just said before that I was fat shaming off of?
Barriers.
The barrier thing, right?
Barriers melt away when you decide to boldly walk.
So that's what he did. 2 times, really. He did it in 75 when he made the first Star Wars, and they were like, "You're crazy. Nobody's going to want this." They didn't even have a premiere for that movie. And then he did it the second time when they were like, "Nobody's going to want to see a digital movie." There's a movie coming out in a few months that was shot on an iPhone 15. You know, like, and that's because of George Lucas. Like, the guys who I look up to and idolize are all visionaries like that who dissolve those boundaries. Michael Jackson, George Lucas. Just you create something that you see in your head and you know it's there.
You do that.
Because I look up to those guys, and
you're always creating your own path.
Because nobody, if no one's gonna give it to me, I'll make it for myself. Well,
so if you think about the 2 videos that kind of kicked you off, it was modern day Seinfeld. No one had done that. You put your own twist on that.
Now I'm getting sent modern Seinfeld bits all the time. People are doing it. It's hilarious.
And then the crowd work you did with the Kamala Harris bit. We hadn't seen anyone scream at an audience member like that in a brilliant, quick-witted
I screamed
way.
at her once, and then I
didn't mean to. That's why I pivoted.
No. I'm just piggybacking off of you.
We hadn't seen something like that, and it was the
Spider-Man video is my number 1 most viewed reel. It's at 35 million, I think. And that's another thing too, because think about the people who love comic books, you know, nerds, people who don't often get to defend themselves or speak up for themselves. And here I was defending wearing a Spider-Man shirt and backing it up with facts and getting audience laughter. And now I have more black Spider-Man, symbiote Spider-Man merch than I could ever buy in my lifetime. And I didn't buy a single one of them because people bring them to me because they found me from that video. There was a group of people who came to Wise Guys this weekend who were season ticket holders for the other club. And then they found out, they didn't even know I was a comedian. They followed Secret Identity.
Really?
And then they switched their tickets and came to the club I was at because they wanted to.
Season ticket holders to a comedy club sounds like a very unique demographic.
More people should have them. I think, you know how many people come up to me and go, "This is my first comedy show," and they'll be like in their 40s. And I'm like, that's insane, and also makes sense because people don't think of comedy shows as a place you could go to. But really, it's the best time you could have if you're on a good one.
Yeah.
There's so many Spider-Man sketches that I've written for Secret Identity about the symbiote that when I type in bonding, it just says, "and Peter bonded with the symbiote." Torey hates it when I bring up secret identity.
I like to feel like you love me still.
Torey, I like you a lot. You're like a neighbor of mine. We've known each other for many years. And I'll leave it at that. You're like a sister to me that I didn't know I had.
I got
so
nothing
then I
going
dump
on.
it on
you
Rosie.
Dump it on me.
I always do. If it gets bad enough, I do dump it on you almost every time. You
always help me with my stuff too.
I don't know that I help, more or less that I just pontificate until a solution presents itself.
You say things.
Although there was that time.
Pretty good.
Like what?
Anytime I'm really in turmoil, I feel like you can get a bird's eye view on the situation and break it down for me as a human being. And then you say, well, you're like this, and this is like this, and I can understand why you feel like this, but this is, life. And then you Yoda me, and it's great.
Well, that's also another thing, too. It's like,
you spit out 40 movie references, but it's also, like, perfectly tailored. It's like AI. You're like AI advice, and it's, like, tailored. It's like, let me take Torey and every movie I've ever seen and every, like, way of life and then put it into like a slot machine and go bing, 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 and then be like, here's how you should feel. And I'm like, how'd you do it?
I will get shit for movies and my nerdism often, but that's how I became a comedian is when I was a kid, I was exposed to stand-up so early, and stand-up is extremely metaphorical and allegorical to life. So my brain got wired into being, well, I can only talk about this if I connect it to something else. And, finger painting, it's like, you ever be wiping your ass and you get some shit on your finger? That's what I'm going to be doing with paint. Like, that's an example of me as a 5-year-old using analogies. But I don't just watch movies either. I get utterly obsessed with them and their knowledge. And a thing like Star Wars, for example, is very intertwined with Buddhism, which is what I try to be. And that's where most of, like, Will, same way, when we were driving back from Naples, from when we did Empire Strikes Back, we were in the car talking about the event, and he was like, yeah, I didn't even get to get into the meaning of Yoda, what this means, what that means. It's why you love Ratatouille. It's why people get into the things that they do, because they see a version of themselves in there. I was just watching a video of William Shatner, who played Captain Kirk on Star Trek in the 60s, and the interviewer goes, why do you think some people think Kirk and Spock are gay? And he goes, because they're gay. That's why they connect with that. That's why you would think that. I say all the time on Secret Identity, if you think Spider-Gwen is trans, let her be trans. Because guess what? She's not a person. If you think Luke Skywalker's gay, let him be gay. He's not a person that exists. And if that means something to you and that gives you a beacon of hope, I can watch any movie and find someone I could relate to, because I'm a straight white passing dude. So it's not very hard for me to find someone. That's why people gravitate towards comics or any certain specific niche thing, because maybe they see a version of themselves in it, or they see a vulnerability they'd like to get to one day. And I, as someone who loves to learn things, and I don't know if I love to learn things or I love the feeling of knowing there's so much more of life out there for me to experience. I can't tell, or maybe they're both the same. That's why I also know you very well, and you're my best friend, and we've been at each other's sides at our highest and lowest. So it's the advice we give each other is very important advice, and it's very meaningful because of how well we do know each other. Mm-hmm. And it goes back to the people you surround yourself with and who you have. I can look at your friends and tell you where you're going to be in 5 years. I can do that to anybody. I can look at every single one of your friends and go, if you're going to be a comedian, I'm going, not going to make it. Make it. If you have like one friend, make it.
Am I gonna?
If you have to ask, you know the answer. You shouldn't have to answer that question. You aren't. Well, it depends on what your version of making it is. Everyone's got a different version.
Having fun and making money and making a difference.
Those three things are very hard to do at the same time. But if you're lucky, you can do one of them every day. Okay. And that's a win. I try to. It's that your life's got to have a mission statement to it.
What's yours?
Leave the world a little better place than it was when I woke up.
I like that.
And I can do that through comedy. Even if I make someone laugh, or if someone shares something, or if they, even if it's not funny and they connect with them.
I love the way we connect with our listeners. It means the world.
We do it through a microphone. Hello, listener. This is Homer.
Hello.
That was an old lady. How'd you get out of my shoe? Get back in there.
Any questions from the listeners?
Yeah, I was done talking about what I was talking about.
Sorry.
Well, ready for some fan mail?
Yeah.
Is your confidence higher knowing so many girls want you? Parentheses, me. No. Would you hook up with a fan? Same person. Would you hook up with a fan after a show? Be honest. No, I think I've talked about this ad nauseum. Billie Jean. Just listen to Billie Jean. When are you coming to Costa Rica? When I get booked out there.
It'd be fun.
Would you fight one giant chicken or 100 normal-sized ones? 100 normal-sized ones. What about you?
One giant.
Really?
That's a big beak.
That's what I was thinking of. I don't want to get pecked.
I'd go for the eyes. How big is it, you know?
That's a good
I'll
question.
Just punch it in the neck.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. What kind of punch would you throw?
Uppercut.
Do you know how to... No, see, that's...
Right
I don't
hook?
think that would
Left
work.
hook?
Right, yeah, one of the hooks, I think.
Going for the
because that's you crack its neck, right? So like you would if you uppercut it, that's not really gonna. But if you go from the side, that might break the. Although think of all the giant chicken Peter Griffin fights; those are pretty gnarly. That's why I wouldn't want to fight.
I'd go for a lot of little ones, actually.
Yeah, because I could kick all day.
Just kick.
Yeah, although it would be scary seeing a bunch of them just coming at you.
I've been attacked by a rooster. It was scary.
You got attacked by a cock?
Yeah.
What happened?
I was in a chicken coop, and they're very aggressive, and they fly up, and then they get to the back of their
with their talons.
Feet. Yeah,
yeah, chicken
so
run.
I started to
but only when
fluff
chicken
up
anxious.
and then come down, and then my riding instructor came in and palmed it out of me. But it was scary. I was in a corner, and I was like, no.
Yeah,
they're aggressive.
They are, because if they're not, they're a McChicken. Bully Torey for not coming to see me in Naples next weekend. Listen, Shouty, I don't know if we're even...
Shadya?
No, I'm just saying Shouty.
Oh.
Who is your celebrity crush?
Today I went down a little rabbit hole of James Franco.
Torey.
I know he's kind of a freak.
He's a pedophile.
Oh, really? Well, I'm going to take that one back. Then I like his face. Can I say his face is nice? I don't care what he did. I mean, I do, obviously. That's terrible. But, okay, I take that back. That's disgusting. Well, I like Channing Tatum, and then Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Those are my dudes. What about you? Not James Franco. Disgusting. Gross. Ew. I hate how attractive.
You can say someone is good looking and also admit that they were a monster. Everyone says Ted Bundy is good looking. I was like, no, he's a fucking loser.
Well, I think James Franco's hot, but that's disgusting.
Well, that's why he was a famous actor. Because a lot of people do, and I don't think you're in the wrong.
What a bummer.
Yeah. My celebrity crush, Carrie Fisher.
Okay.
Living?
R.I.P.
Jennifer Coolidge.
All right.
I've always had a very big crush on Jen. Jen, if you're listening, I love you. If you had to roast yourself, what's the first thing you would say? Listen here, you fucking Millhouse, long-haired, Torey cold talking, beige, dead Christmas tree bitch. All right, you use you love Star Wars. Why don't you use some of that force to do something productive with your life? Why don't you listen to your cognitive behavioral therapist instead of just telling everyone you go? I say a lot worse things too, but I don't want it to get scary. I do roast myself every time you hear me roast someone else.
We are our own worst critics.
I think I'm your worst critic. What would you say?
I'd say stop eating, you dumb bitch.
That's how you roast yourself?
I'd say you should relax.
Like your waistline has, you should do that for your mouth.
Okay.
Relaxed fit. I was trying to help. I don't know.
I don't know. I know I say a lot on this podcast about my image looks.
But I like that you do, and I think a lot of people do too.
Vulnerable.
I think a lot of people like it too, because most people suffer with some sort of body issue, and it's not something that's often talked about. Like how I talk about having a large penis. A lot of people hear that and they go, there is someone else out there like me. Just stop sending me pictures of your cock. Is their show so bad it still haunts you today? Indianapolis. What about you?
No. I know that sounds annoying, but
no,
nothing
it's
has
good.
haunted me that
means
hard.
You're able to let go.
Yeah, nothing has really haunted me like that.
I'm obsessive, so that's why I still think about it. And I hate myself, so that's always a good benchmark to go back and be like, this is why you're a piece of shit.
I think I struggled a bit in Wisconsin this January, but nothing that is really going to ruin my life.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
How was your first time on stage? Did you ever think about quitting?
I'll never forget my first open mic. I loved it.
But you were so blacked out, you drank a lot?
I drank a lot, and luckily I'd memorized my speech or my
Your
my
speech.
set word for word,
I have a dream.
and I was able to kind of get through it. So, but
Similar experience.
right, Gotham.
Gotham. I was 19, and
Yeah.
that's about how many screwdrivers I had. That wasn't the first time on stage, but that was like
Yeah.
my first show. I
Yeah.
did Clayton Fletcher's mic at New York Comedy Club for about a year before that, and then the first like show I did was at Gotham, and I was so drunk. I did well, but I blew the light so bad that not only did they flash the light, not only did they turn the house lights on, the host had to pull me off stage. And then I kept going.
Look at you now.
First time I ever did a mic, I had the same feeling. I was like, oh yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be. If you could have anyone in your audience, dead or alive, who would it be and why? Great question.
Mac Miller.
Why?
I love him.
That would be why I want Michael Jackson. Who would you want to play you in a film about your life?
Blake Lively.
Great choice. Ryan Reynolds.
Really?
I think he could play me pretty well.
That was a beautiful answer for both of us.
Yeah.
Bravo, team.
Deadpool. What's your biggest fear when you're performing? That my zipper is down. Every single time I'm on stage, I think my zipper is down. I've been doing stand-up for 11 years. Not one time in those 11 years have I been on stage and thought, my zipper is definitely up. And then you can't, like, overtly look. And most of the time, by the way, it's never been down. But you can't look, and you're hoping your shirt covers it, and then you're not mindful. But that's always my worst fear. Everything else I could deal with, because then you look sloppy. Half a stand-up is presentation.
Yeah.
That's why people don't like British food, because Americans love the texture of foods, and our texture is heart disease. What's your biggest fear?
Probably just offending someone, like hurting someone's feelings for real, which I know is lame, but
No, it's not. I worry about that too, and I don't make jokes about things people can't help, and I would be very upset if I did. Yeah. Now, I will start to, if you are heckling me and haven't learned by now to shut the fuck up, then I will say things you can't help, like when I called that woman Jabba, but it keeps me up at night. You get into a fight. Movie, TV show, what's the soundtrack? Why Can't We Be Friends by War.
Brilliant.
That's what I would do. Yeah.
That's really good. I don't know why I want to say like Barbie Dreams by Nicki Minaj, but
oh, that's a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I just like the melody behind that, and it's kind of fun, and
yeah,
she's kind of a badass in it.
I was gonna say for you 4 or 5 seconds from Wyland.
Oh, that's good.
Because that's how I picture whenever you crack, it's like that.
That's
just
good.
that first line, I love. I think I had enough.
Yeah.
I'm always right at the edge of that, but that would be a good one for you.
I love that album. So good.
Favorite stand-up outfit you've worn? Well, I loved the Bad Tour outfit. And now I'm just kind of wearing whatever I want to wear. I'm trying to figure out.
I like your Silly Goose University shirt.
Thank you. I tried, the way I wore the Bad Tour outfit, it was because it was like a confidence thing. I was like, if I could tell jokes in this, I could do it in any situation. And I did for a good month, and I bombed in that outfit. Top 3 comedians of all time. Well, this is a very subjective question, and these are in no particular order, but mine would have to be Richard Pryor, Jerry Seinfeld, and Tina Fey. I know she's not technically a stand-up, but she was a huge inspiration for me. And her book and 30 Rock, or when I read her book and I watched 30 Rock, I was 17, not really knowing what to do, and for some reason it just very much connected with me. And
Bossy Pants?
Bossy Pants. And I watched the hell out of 30 Rock because it was so weird and eclectic, and I was dying to go to New York. And I remember the first time I went to Rockefeller Plaza, I was like, this is just like on the show. Who would your top 3 be? I don't know if I've ever asked you this.
Of all time is hard, but people that I look up to and I'm influenced by are Taylor Tomlinson.
Great pick.
Eliza Schlesinger.
Great pick.
I love Ali Wong. I know but I'm trying to think of women. I know I mean, you don't like this one, but Amy Schumer, I
What do you mean I don't like that one?
Really? I feel like everyone's like, oh, I like Amy.
Am I everyone? Does everyone have a life-size Watto they won at an auction, and now they're not sure where to put it, and they're running out of space?
Well, Amy Schumer, I would put in my influences and people that I've enjoyed watching over the years.
Yeah.
I love Bill Burr, Nate Bargatze.
Me too. Nate, his George Washington sketches on SNL always crack me up. Great picks, great choices, all great choices. What else do we got? Oh, a lot of questions in
Really?
a very short amount of time.
That's crazy.
That's the power of no clout, baby. Let's see what else we got here. If you had to turn into a lifeless object for a year, what would it be?
That's hilarious.
A couch, so I get nothing but ass.
Someone asked that?
Great question.
A lifeless object? Maybe TV, so people stare at me.
Which leads into the next question. What's the first thing you'd do if you swapped bodies?
Who would I swap bodies with? If you and I
swapped bodies, what's the first thing you would do?
Oh, if you and I swap bodies?
Yeah.
I just want to get on a theater stage.
But you don't know. That would fuck things up for me. Because we're not swapping minds.
I'd be like, I'm Troy Bond. Look at my big dick. Get into porn.
Yeah.
What would you do in my body?
Know what it's like to pee girly style and have to.
Not that fun.
I know, but I just want to know. I know what it's like to have boobs.
I guess I would want to know what it's like to come as a man.
Yeah, and I know women don't, so I wouldn't even try. Torey, when will you blog again?
Oh, that was so good. When do I blog again? Oh, who asked that?
Aurora Lee.
That is so nice. I'll bring it back. What do you want me to write about? DM me. I'll do that.
Wow, so many people asked the same joke. It's the same question. It's very funny.
What was the same question that got asked?
Just very much just like we answered them, but like a lot of people asked the same question.
What inanimate object would you be?
No, that was very unique. That's why I picked that one. Wow, these are all great questions.
Thanks, guys. That was fun. I liked that.
If you didn't hear us get back to them this week, you'll hear us get back to them on next week. And be sure to check out Troy's Weekly Obsessions in the link below. All right, so here's a playlist of some songs that as I'm putting this together now I'm thinking about the bonding listeners. I have a playlist on Spotify called Troy Bond's Weekly Obsessions. It's linked in the description, where it's a weekly playlist of songs on my rotation.
I should copy you on that.
Yeah, might as well, right? Study the greats and become greater.
That's what Michael Jackson said.
Look at me. Don't look at your phone. And it turns out people are when you put out your most vulnerable self, people are interested in it. Yeah. And so I've been doing this for about 6 months now. And I started talking about it in the podcast. And here are the songs that are on Troy Bond's Weekly Obsession. Start your Monday off right with this track playlist. I'm someone you could positively always pass the aux cord to. Now, if I'm in a...
I agree.
Like I know who I'm in the car with. Yeah, no, because it just goes to Mac Miller every time. I know with a median of the car because I'm the son of a DJ. And I got an ear. You know, but also when we're with, I have one ear. I can't hear out of this one, which is where I pointed to it. But again, vulnerability, when we're with each other, you will unapologetically back-to-back Mac Miller, and I'll unapologetically Michael Jackson.
We vibe on things like Crew and Gold Lake
money
and
around me.
You know.
Yeah, that one song. Anyway, here's some.
That's a niche song that you and I love. Frank
I think
Ocean.
A lot of people. Yeah, no one knows that guy. Or do you not think so far?
I think you and I get along in many musical ways.
Well, we do. Our blend playlists are always fun.
Exactly.
If you don't know about this, Spotify has this great feature where if you're on a long car ride with somebody and their musical taste might be kind of shitty, like I've discussed about Torey's in the past, which I didn't say shitty. I just said makes you want to get into a car accident because I wasn't used to your brand of music, as you were probably not aware of mine. And we listened to it and... it happened. Do you have
Anyways, the blend is.
Do you have any song? The blend is great. You send it to your friend, and then you click on it. If you both have Spotify, it makes a blend of songs. And I do it every time I'm on a road trip. I do it with Logan. I actually find myself listening to my blends with friends when I'm just alone. Like I'll listen to my manager Logan and I's blend. I'll listen to Slater and I's blend, you and I's blend, because I can't just keep. I have 3,000 saved songs like downloaded on my phone, but like I know I'll get sick of them. So that's why I started this weekly obsession playlist to be like, which ones am I really listening to? The first one of the just right when you hear the bass, you just, She's a Bad Man Pajama by Carl Carlton. Just do.
Yeah, but and I feel like you always have like 30 years of music on your.
Well, this spans. This is
exactly.
eclectic. Well,
That's
so
what I'm
this
saying.
isn't a pass me the aux moment. This is what Troy's listening to. Listen at your own risk. But if I'm in the car with you, I know the vibe of the car and I know what people would like. I got a party playlist. You start every whenever you're handed the aux. Here's a little tip. First song you always start with is "Knee Deep" by George Clinton, because it's you know that song. It was in Good Burger.
Yeah.
You know that one? Not just knee deep, she was knee deep, but she did it freak with me. She did it freak!
Yeah.
But wasn't meat. Yeah. That is the one to start it with, because people will either dance or they'll be locked in, or they'll be like in the Michael Jackson trial, when he was on trial in 2005. They were talking about how his music was playing during a documentary, and people on the jury were like nodding their heads and bumping their feet. There's a really good book out called Michael Jackson Conspiracy, about one of the reporters who was reporting on the case, who realized how sensationalized the media had become and sort of was a trial by media, and did a complete 180 on what her thoughts and feelings were, and taught me a lot of new stuff about the case. We'll get to what Troy's reading in a minute. She's Bad Mama Jamma 1. This one, I think of you every time it comes on, and I think that's why I was listening to it a lot when I was on the road last week. Marvin and Chardonnay, Big Sean, Kanye West. Love Big Sean, Kanye.
Marvin Gaye and Chardonnay.
8 years ago, I loved. That's a great one. Snap Your Fingers, Lil Jon.
Yeah.
Just one of the best. That's my. What's happening? Hey,
Lil
hey,
Jon.
it's your boy Lil Jon. Hello, Jon. I'm making me click.
How old is Lil Jon?
I think 25. Next one is Poke It Out with Nicki Minaj by Cardi B. You know that song? Poke it out. Walk it out. Walk it out. Walk it out. I was trying to finger someone this week, and I wanted
Cardi B and
Nicki Minaj and Playboy Cardi. I'm
I
sorry.
was gonna say they would never.
You know that
be
one?
together.
You know that song, right? I swap. Whoa, bad bitch. Poke it out. Poke it out.
Probably,
Poke it
yeah.
out. And she's like, Playboy Marty. Planet Rock by Africa Bambaataa. One of the all-time. I forgot what band it was, but they covered it with PLAY, if you play with me. But this was like one of the first commercial hip hop songs. And Africa Bambaataa still lives in New York, and like you see him walking around sometimes. I've seen him twice, and every time I'm just like, Rocky, don't stop it. The party don't.
I walked past Chris Rock on my way to work yesterday for like.
You see Chris Rock all the time because he's
I
down
know.
here.
I walked behind him for like 10 minutes. No one looked twice at him. It was crazy.
It's crazy how it is in New York, right? Like it's when I saw Chris Rock at the Garden, I was in a room. It was during halftime, and we're in like this banquet hall, and I was one of the first ones in there, and I saw him in the corner, and I mean, he's one of my heroes. He's on my Mount Rushmore. I grew up with him, and I have met heroes before, and they're no longer my heroes. So I was very scared about what to do with Chris, and I just started walking toward him, and I was like, if he bitches, it's like I think it's Gladiator. If he dies, he dies. I walked over to him, and he couldn't have been warmer and nicer to me. I was like, I hate to be this guy. I'm a comedian. You are one of the many reasons why I am. I wore your shirt for like a week after the Oscars, which Torey can attest to. And we took a picture, and it just couldn't have been. It was like one of those, oh man, this is crazy. It's even weirder. Like someone on the street recognized me the other day, and he sells tickets for Broadway.
Mm-hmm.
And
Was it Joe?
I don't know. You know, I'm bad with names. And then we're talking all this for a long time, and then he's like longer than I wanted. And then he was like, yeah, if you ever need blow, let me know. And I'm like, what the fuck? No part of this conversation was cocaine related. But I guess because he thinks, I guess so, yeah. What else? Intergalactic by the Beastie Boys.
I love the Beastie Boys.
You? That's a great song. Do you know that one? Intergalactic planet. No, don't tell me to smile. You stick around and make it worth your while. like numbers beyond what you can.
I'm sure I've heard it.
Maybe it's because of your versa style profile. I said it only brings you back when they hear you smile. Praise the Lord. ASAP Rocky. Yes, you see him and Rihanna's kids.
What's this?
She got that forehead
say?
gene.
Like, hit it.
Text message. I don't know the number.
I don't know the number.
Flexing on these motherfuckers, every bone and muscle.
Mm-hmm.
No, I came, Dior, I came, I saw, and he, and all. I came, I saw, I came, too early, I came, I cried, I came, apologized. Next one, Paul Abdul, Straight Up. I got that on vinyl recently. Oh, God, that and Opposites Attract, I think, were the two hits, but Paula was just one of the greatest. What? But straight up, now tell me, do you really want to love me forever? Cole.
Or is it just a hit
and run?
J. Cole has a song
that he sampled that from, yes.
So that's why I know that.
I was hoping that if I sang it, because I saw the lights not on, and then I started, and I saw the
J.
lights
Cole.
go on.
Yeah.
J. Cole, Torey Cole. Heartbreak Hotel by Whitney Houston, featuring Faith Evans and Kevin Rowland, one of the greatest.
Faith Evans.
What
a beautiful voice that woman has.
Yeah, one of the best. She, I think, sings back up on this with Whitney, but that's one of the greatest songs ever. And one of the greatest hooks. Since you're not around for me to tell you, baby, face to face. And then Whitney died in a hotel, so that's weird how life works out. Under Pressure, Queen, David Bowie, one of probably my oldest favorite songs. I remember being a kid.
Under Pressure.
Dun, 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 dun. Vanilla Ice got pressing down on you, no matter how. Under pressure, it burns a building down. It's a family and two.
I know that song. I will not admit that I didn't know it was him.
You didn't know that was Freddie Mercury and David Bowie?
Maybe not.
It was one of the it's a duet between the two. I remember being a kid and I got really into Freddie Mercury music, and my dad was like, "Yeah, don't go around telling everybody you love Freddie Mercury," because he didn't want me to be. But I still turned out fruity. What else do I got here? Oh, Swing by Savage and Soulja Boy. Well, that's one when we were kids. Oh, sing, oh, shaking out.
Swing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to love that song.
Right? That came out on my Spotify will give you like songs of your decade.
That takes me back to freshman year of high school.
Oh, yeah, I forgot you're older than me. Stop on backing up and let me hit it. Swing. Now drop it low and let me kiss you through the phone. Then Ben by the Jackson 5, but live at the Forum in 1972. That's the version that's on this playlist. I love the song Ben. It's from a movie. It's about a rat. And the whole theme of the song, I think about my uncle, the one who got me addicted to drugs. When I listen to it, because there's a line, it says, they don't see you like I do. I wish they would try to. I'm sure they'd think again if they had a friend like Ben. And just a beautiful song, and it's 72 right when his voice is starting to change, and it's just very, I usually don't like sad songs or songs I know are going to make me sad, but that's one, maybe it's because it was live. I could not stop listening to it this week. This one, every mom and dad and grandfather has this playlist. Raindrops Falling on My Head, BJ Thomas. You Got the Look by Prince. I've played that every time I have finished masturbating this week.
Wow. How many times is that?
2 times 7.
That's gnarly. Twice a day?
Yeah. You got to bust a focus nut, and you got to bust one in the morning, one at night.
So you could phone a friend, but okay.
Yeah, I could, but
Not
I can also get it done faster and not have to talk to that friend for 30 minutes. I'd rather just rub one out and then go back to playing Lego Star Wars 2. Sometimes 3.
Wow.
I got endurance. It's a state of mind. That's the best aphrodisiac.
That's healthy. I don't know how.
Well, I do when I wake up to get me like, all right, let's go, let's get after it.
Every
and then
morning you wake up.
I do it after I wake up, not before.
On my makeup.
Yeah, by makeup I mean semen on a face. You got cum on your face, big disgrace. Torey Cole didn't know Under Pressure was me. Queen. Anyway, I'm Dreamin', Christopher Williams, 90s song, don't expect you to know it, but I watched New Jack City, and that song is on it. That was in the 90s where everyone was be like, well, if we're not going to sell records, I'll try to sing like Michael Jackson, and that's what he was doing in this song. Desert Rose by Sting. One of the greats. Do you know that one?
No, that's Every Rose Has Its Thorn.
Yeah, this one is I Dream of Red. You know, P. Diddy, maybe not now, but he has to pay Sting $2,000 every day for the rest of his life because he didn't clear his sample for I'll Be Missing You.
Damn.
And Every Breath I Take.
Every move you.
Yeah, that's every breath.
What song did he take that?
Every breath I take, every move I make.
Wait, that's the Sting song.
That's
what
Sting.
was the P. Diddy song?
Every single day.
Oh, yeah.
I've only listened to it. Like, yeah, it makes me sad thinking, I'll be missing you. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
that when about Biggie.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that Diddy may or may not have had killed.
Diddy's...
And now Diddy got his comeuppance. We don't need to talk about Diddy on this podcast. But yeah, I thought that was... And Sting was like, I would have just gave it to him if he asked.
Well...
And it's like when people rip my videos to put them next to a fucking slime video on TikTok.
That is crazy to
I
me.
used to get mad, but now I'm like, all right, well, let's get my name out there. I was mad because there was an imposter account that had 600 fucking thousand followers on TikTok.
And it's all slime videos?
No, it was just someone pretending to be me. Really, though, by Danny Brown, Kendrick Lamar, Absol, Earl Sweatshirt. You know that one? You don't even know. I'm not talking our show. So no, tell me nothing. No, something I ain't seen before. It's really good. The version I love I Believe I Could Fly, but I can't listen to it anymore.
Right.
But there's a version you can listen to by Yolanda
Kids
Albums. Pop? No. That's the one he would make them sing.
You can have that as a joke premise. You do well with that.
What? Set it up for me.
Kids Bop making
I Believe I Could Fly against their will in R. Kelly's house.
Yeah.
It's not ha-ha funny, but it's poignant. This one's by Yolanda Adams and Gerald Levert, who also did.
You can make it ha-ha funny.
Of course I could. I'm Troy Bond. This version you can listen to. It's very gospel-y. And I don't usually love gospel, but it came out earlier, and I was like, God damn, this is powerful. Yeah, I get to see, I had a great year at concerts, man. I saw Stevie Nicks twice. I saw Timberlake a week after the DUI, and tomorrow Stevie Wonder. I can't wait. Oh, I never got to see Michael. I never got to see Prince. That's 3 for me.
I'm excited for you.
I'm very, very excited. Sweet Dreams are made of these. Basketball by Bow Wow, because I watched Like Mike on a Plane. You by the Aquatones, very sad song. Spaghetti by Beyonce from her Cowboy Carter album. Loved it. The Stevie song on my playlist this week is a song Timberlake, some say ripped off Senorita for, but it's Don't You Worry About a Thing. One of the greats.
Yeah.
Roxanne by The Police.
Roxanne!
And then the last one is Be Without You by Mary J. Blige. I love that song.
I'm never gonna be
without you, Torey!
That's good. I should bring my blog back. That was nice and thoughtful. Thank you for including that question. So
check out Torey's blog. That doesn't exist right now.
Thank you.
Arigato.
Okay, I love you guys. Thanks for listening.